Okay, you can begin.
Good night, everyone. My name is Caleb Bosa, and my group members, Alyssa, Amal Singh, and Faithful Mitchell and I will be covering Chapter 9 in the Exploring Leadership textbook. In your minds, think about what a community is. Now that I put that thought into your heads, I'm going to read a bit of dialogue that displays what a healthy community looks like. Next slide, please. Okay. Hey, girl, I sat on here with Aaliyah and Kevin. Our committee was real worried when we were inside like a child father on Mother's Day. Daniel was asking everybody if it was alright. Oh, father, you're fucking terrible. You alright? Hey, Isaiah, I appreciate everyone's concern. I have a dread cold right now. It slapped me across my face last night. Sorry I didn't call. I didn't want you to worry. Next slide, please. That's alright. I hope you feel better. Aliyah says she will drop some of the resumes of the potential commencement speakers by you later because all of us supposed to take vote for one of them to be recommended to the Form 5 class council for Tuesday. Oh, and Aliyah said if we need anything, she will bring it when she passes by you. Okay, based on that dialogue, the committee seems to be a healthy community. Kelly's absence was picked up on by the committee members. They cared about her enough to pick up and drop the copies of documents while she was absent. So after this conversation, Kelly is aware that she matters to them. The feeling of community is captivating, whether it is a small or large community. Remember, in tragic times, the ways you saw communities ensure that encourage, help, and support those in need. Next slide, please. According to Exploring Leadership for College Students Who Want to Make a Difference, second edition by Susan Comives, Nance Lucas, and Timothy McMahon in 2007, page 282, this chapter aims to discuss the nature of communities, principles of community development, and your role as an active member of your communities of practice. Next slide, please. The importance of community. Having knowledge about community, having knowledge about community was a physiologically believing in the value of community and being skillful and at evolving and sustaining community are crucial aspects of relational leadership, which according to 2025 definition by the Indeed editorial team, it is a leadership style that emphasizes building relationships and using those relationships to work towards a common goal. Realistically, perfect communities will never exist. We gain knowledge and work in flawed communities, and if those communities are making an effort to improve, they turn into supportive places for self and group growth. Next slide, please. Any group of individuals, any group of individuals that gathers together for a purpose, like a school club or a team working on a project, frequently takes part in conversations based on the questions, who are we and what is important to us? Next slide, please. Relational leadership emphasizes the importance of attending to community as a discipline. Discipline in this case is something that should be studied, learned, and exercised like how you would learn discipline in an educational setting. Understanding yourself and other people is not sufficient. Understanding is necessary for forming and taking care of groups and organizations and their functions. Thinking about the relationships in that environment directs the members' attention to the responsibilities, the procedures, and the team spirit. I want you to think about the most effective and significant groups that you have been in. And let me ask this question. Has anyone ever felt a sense of commitment and felt like they actually mattered to the group and to the other members? Anyone?
Yes, I have. It was in a group. I was in a while ago at this point, but we really came together and they really made me feel like I was needed in the group, like I was able to contribute to my fullest and give my best. And it really made me happy, especially seeing the outcome because we did
Mm-hmm.
what we were supposed to do and it was
Mm-hmm.
well received. So that was nice.
Okay, well, that's great. But let me tell you, being a part of a group doesn't always feel like that. I'm sure everyone can remember or imagine being a part of a group that almost had no value. You didn't feel that same sense of commitment, and all you want to do is just get the project over with and go your way. Yes, Victoria.
So this is on a community-wide thing. A couple years ago, I experienced a flood, and it was devastating because I lost everything. But
Mm-hmm.
there was a little comfort in there because it wasn't me alone. I don't know why that comfort came, but it was comforting in terms of it wasn't me alone. It's not me alone feeling like this. It's my entire community going through this. So it's all of us together in this. And it brought the community together. I saw how my neighbors, we helped each other. And that was something amazing to me because today we have a Greenville community chat because it's Greenville.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even after the flood, we keep in contact with each other. We let it, if rain is falling,
Mm-hmm.
persons who are in work or who are at home will let us know in the group chat what is happening. Even I think the community is scarred a little, but
Mm-hmm.
seeing how the community came together during that time, it was heartfelt. And what was also heartfelt is how my company, where I work, my friends and family came to me without it was very heartfelt.
Okay, I'm sorry about the flooding, but it's nice to know that something beautiful came out of the tragedy. It wasn't all bad. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, it was I. Okay. The common goals may have been achieved in the group that didn't feel a sense of commitment in, but most members say that they didn't actually enjoy working together, but rather avoid each other after the work is finished. Relational leadership calls for you to visualize the environment I mentioned earlier as a healthy community, which leads to a model of expectations and standards for working together effectively as members in shared leadership. Next slide, please. Okay. Elements of community. A community is usually described as a group of individuals who work together because of a shared interest or goal. Although community is not only a place where social interaction takes place, it is also an outlook of connection and dedication that maintains purpose and relationships with others. The scenario with Kelly might not have demonstrated leadership from the first impression, but I want you to imagine a small club or committee whose members mean so much to each other that someone's absence is not only noticed, but other members start to worry about the individual so much that the members actually look out for the individual's needs. In an environment like that, each member would feel a sense of ownership and shared leadership. Excuse me. Communities are aware that they are a group of individuals who achieve their goals through trust and teamwork. Teamwork needs certain Teamwork needs certain processes to make choices, different ways of communication, and a dedication to some degree of participation by the community members. Next slide, please. According to the 1990 book on leadership by John Gardner, pages 116 to 118, it expands the standard definitions of community to refer to effective communities that practice the following 8 elements. I also included examples of my own for each elements, which I would read now. Wholeness incorporating diversity. This means to involve all types of people, no matter their ethnicity, cultural background, race, religion, or sexuality. A shared culture. This refers to having a common ground in terms of culture, meaning that everyone in the community should be able to relate to and involve themselves in the culture that the community has formed. Excuse me. Good internal communication. This can be done by being clear and concise when necessary with your words, having fast and efficient methods of communication when the community is not present in person, and by maintaining respect and clear communication, especially when disagreements occur. Care, trust, and teamwork. This is pretty self-explanatory. Open your mind and heart to care and trust the members of your community. And from that, as time goes on, teamwork will become easier. Next slide, please. Group maintenance and governance. This ties in with elements 3 and 4. With good internal communication, care, trust, and teamwork, the community will be well maintained and governed well. Participation and shared leadership tasks. For any group, participation is necessary to keep the group functioning, as well as shared leadership tasks. Examples of shared leadership tasks are group decision making. Let's say you're in a football club and you take the responsibility of the finances, like for equipment and uniforms, while someone else handles the equipment inventory, which is someone who keeps track of all the balls, all the shoes, stuff like that. Development of young people slash new members. Young people or new members in the community are the future of the community. Investing in them physically, mentally, and emotionally would not only benefit those individuals, but it would also benefit the community as they help to create hopefully effective members of the community and society. And lastly, the last step, links with the outside world. This refers to branching out by building relationships with other organizations or communities to build upon each other's experiences, beliefs, and to help each other grow. Next slide, please. Through their teamwork, members of a community form a shared culture that is wary of new members. However, effective communities understand that they are not static and unchanging, but instead they are dynamic, constantly changing for the better, broadening broadening their environment. Bringing all of this together is the recognition that a group is a community and the shared culture might reflect the spirit of the community. And the spirit of the community makes a lot of other relational processes practicable. A lot of traditional views of community have changed. Traditional views illustrate communities as the same kind of people being grouped together that have a lot in common, and they might even be similar to each other in terms of ideology, race, or class. While those may be communities, I think many of us agree that a community without diversity isn't ideal. For example, I don't think that Trinidad would be what it is now without its diversity. The different foods, cultures, races, and experiences are what make up everything good and well known about this country. Which means having diversity of ideas, skills, experiences, and views of the world contributes to a community's shared goals and the great amount of talents of the members. If every community member viewed things the same way, had the same set of skills, and had the same experiences, their capability to be resilient and come head to head with change would be very restricted. Next slide, please. Although traditional views have established that communities require in-person interaction, which we all know is only achievable if everyone is in close proximity to each other or the venue of choice. Progressively, however, The term community additionally describes people with a shared sense of belonging to a group who interact with each other while not being close to each other to meet physically. References to the medical community or the spiritual community represent their common grounds, shared ideals, and principles, and not their day-to-day or weekly in-person interactions. A lot of these communities find ways to meet together to interact. Next slide, please. There are professional society meetings through associations and conventions, for example, like a anime or cosplay convention, which we have a lot of those in Trinidad, that provide a way for communities to come together to interact, to develop, and improve their connections with other members and other communities. Next slide, please. The internet has given us creative ways for communities that have a shared interest to interact with each other. Examples are online chat rooms, apps with instant messaging services like WhatsApp and Instagram, and tools made for digital communication like Zoom and Microsoft Teams. These are helping to connect people and communities around the world. However, some people are worried that communicating online lessens community. While it is possible to become isolated due to the lack of face-to-face interactions, online online communication can facilitate communities when done responsibly and effectively. Next slide, please. I want you to look at this example that I created here. William is in New York as a police officer. Katie's a farmer in Ohio. And Stacy is a NICU nurse in Florida. They are all friends, but because of online communication and its existence, they're all able to still interact with each other even though they are apart physically. So because online communication exists, you can feel closer to the people in your life that you don't see on a regular basis, since you can text or call them from anywhere, no matter where they are, to have a chat. Next slide, please. You can also find a sense of identity and feel a sense of community without having to interact with other people. For example, if you care about and do what you can to help preserve the marine environment, you'll feel a close connection to Boca Reef Trust and what they have done and what they are presently trying to do for the marine environment. Another example is if you help take care of kids with learning disabilities in your free time when you can, and you are worried about them not having the proper resources. You will feel distressed if you see on the news that the government is choosing not to give them the resources. Next slide, please. To conclude, we are human, and as humans, we all want meaningful relationships with others, environments that are inclusive and encouraging, with purposeful change being achieved through ethical and collective processes, are the most vital parts of effective communities. And relational leadership thrives in environments that value the 8 elements of community I talked about earlier. That's the end of my part. I will now pass you on to my colleague, Faithful.
Hello, good night, everyone. Next slide. So now we will be looking at the topic of common sense, right? But first, I'm going to define what is a community. So according to Martin Buber, a community is a collection of individuals who have united around a shared goal that is a common center. So the common center is basically, in other words, the shared goal, right? And this is a picture of Martin Buber. Next slide. He emphasizes that a true community is made up of individuals with complementary personalities and different point of views rather than a group of people who all think the same. So, next slide. And ensemble of leadership educators that had major difficulties in defining shared leadership role and the significance of a community described it as the binding together of diverse individuals committed to a just, common good through shared experiences in a spirit of caring and social responsibility. So this shows that what bind community members together is having common objectives and goals. Furthermore, I want a rational leadership that genuinely values each individual's inclusion and gives them the authority to collaborate towards the shared goal is of great importance to forming communities, right? So the rational leadership is a leadership style where managers or leaders on a whole use clear facts, stay honest with what is real and what is logical before acting, right? Their decision making is based on facts and fairness. Next slide, please. One of the most important practices in communities is being open, having a listening ear, and letting go of the need to control. They are essential components of a true dialogue, even when your opinions and thoughts clash with those of others. Your monologue cannot foster community if you are unwilling to relinquish authority. So, in simple words, all members of the community must have a say in situations and must feel included, and having a dictatorial approach is a blockage in fostering a community spirit. Gruber points out that this does not imply embracing other people's opinions in order to establish a phony or a false or fake peace, but rather bearing in mind the commitment of greater values. Next slide. Membership, right? Membership also refer to or can also refer to being listed, not only being listed on a roster or having an infrequent association with a community. In other words, it does not mean being committed or devoted. So for instance, it's possible that you are very involved and dedicated to the success of a religious group you attend, organization, or a senior class council. You might, however, just become involved with one of those communities and not be very active in the others due to time constraints, apathy, or changing priorities. Next slide. In the words of John Donne, no man is an island to himself. Can anyone tell me what they think it means?
It means that we're not supposed to be by ourselves for too long. We need companionship.
Very good. That's essentially what this phrase means. Excellent. You can go to the next slide. So, in essence, this timeless expression signifies that we can and frequently must work alone to accomplish our objectives and build self-esteem, but we also need to engage with our friends, family, and community. One can develop equality and acceptance by interacting with a community. The exchange of ideas and technologies is essential. Plans and ideas are not merely made, but are improved by cooperating as a team and building on each other's ideas. So the person who just answered, you are very correct. Next slide. Okay, so basically, out of the many communities an individual may be part of, there are only a few in which, sorry. Oh, sorry. Communities of practice. Joining a community of practice necessitates interacting with others who are pursuing a particular goal. Nobody can fully engage in every community they belong to, so this results in us playing a central role in certain communities of practice while simply playing a secondary role in others. So let's take, for example, in a residence hall floors, some residents keep their doors closed and avoid conversations even when using the elevators to go to classes in the morning. In contrast, though, there are also floors where residents move between each other's rooms, congregate in the floor lounge to watch a preferred reality TV program, and eat dinner together every evening in the same area of the dining hall. This shows that a person can live a connected life when actively engaged in a community, or they can live an isolated existence while surrounded by others. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Seeing it?
Urban villages. Next slide.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So urban villages. Urban communities, as Harvard sociologist Herbert Gans refers to them, can be found even within the larger environment. Urban villages are made up of numerous tiny communities that are part of bigger networks. Class structures like discussion groups and group projects can transform the massive lecture hall into urban setting of tiny villages. So think about it like you're in a class of 50 students and your teacher places everyone into groups of 5. Each group of 5 can be considered as an urban village or urban community, and they are all part of the bigger picture that is the class. In these communities of practice, the social networks that are created are essential to achieving common objectives, as well as a sense of fulfillment and identification. Next slide. How can those communities operate most effectively to involve community members completely? The rules, conduct, standards, conventions, and other frameworks may encourage or forbid your active participation in that community. So assume, for example, that the workplace where you work part-time, right, is a community of practice that you are deeply committed to. Co-workers who support and trust one another, supervisors who encourage personal growth, have reward systems in place that demonstrates the value of your work, an office culture that involves you in decision making, and office celebrations of accomplishment. They all contribute to the atmosphere that unites people in this community. Next. Reciprocal processes. Reciprocal processes are necessary to be in a community. So first we're going to define what is a reciprocal process. So anyone could tell me in their own words, I mean, the answer is right here, but what do you think when you hear reciprocal process? What do you think that means? Okay. Well, reciprocity refers to the idea of a reciprocal exchange in which value is transferred both ways. Members are not viewed as merely service suppliers or passive consumers. Rather, their relationship is one in which giving and receiving are interwoven, and trust is developed via sharing and receiving over time, as well as through words. For instance, a person must choose to join a wider community, and the community must engage and accept new members. So this is essentially what reciprocity is. It's a give and take, a give and exchange. Next slide. According to Harvard sociologist Charles Wiley in 1992, distributive justice and contributory justice are concurrently required in any community, including workplaces, classrooms, neighborhoods, and volunteer organizations. Contributive justice must be practiced by every member of the community. People help the group believe that it is just and acceptable for everyone to fulfill their responsibilities, have a sense of dedication to common goals, and do their part in the larger scheme of things. Next slide. So this is Charles Wiley, the sociologist that we were referring to in the previous slide. Next slide. So I will define the two important terms, contributive justice and distributive justice. Contributive justice theories focus more on what individuals give or contribute to society than what they receive. Whereas distributive justice, this is the equitable distribution of resources among a community's different individuals, is the focus of distributive justice. According to the notion, everyone should have access to or own roughly the same quality of tangible commodities and services. Next. So now we're looking at serial reciprocity. Communities thrive on serial reciprocity. The concept of serial reciprocity, which is social and humanitarian in nature, illustrates how people indirectly repay acts of kindness, often called paying it forward or passing it on. Serial reciprocity is a progressive sequence of selfless, voluntary exchanges between people. So can anybody, like in your personal life, have you ever experienced reciprocity or was part of the chain of reciprocity in the workplace, at your family gatherings or anything? Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. So we have the first example of serial reciprocity. Chris helps Mary move her refrigerator, and Mary can repay that kindness not necessarily by helping Chris back, but when she helps floormate Diane put up flyers in the hall. Diane likewise pays Mary back when she picks up the trash that has spilled out of the trash can at the end of the hall. The responsibility each floor resident feels towards each other is what reciprocity in a community is like. Next slide. So our last example, consider your coworker who every Friday afternoon brings food for the entire workplace. You thank her and appreciate her gesture. On a different day, you could feel more motivated to return the favor by providing snacks for everyone or lending a hand with her work when she needs it. So that is in essence what serial reciprocity is. It's paying it forward. So again, has anyone experienced this or witnessed this or ever been in a situation where they felt that they were being treated kindly and they decided to pay it forward to someone in any way, whether it be a family, your neighbor, or in our workplace? Does anyone have that experience?
It's not in real life. It's an online game that I play, and someone was asking for help. But when I reached, the guy gave me 10,000 gold and said that he was just looking for a kind person to give it to me. So I paid it forward and helped someone else get flying.
Wow, that is very commendable. So that is in essence what serial reciprocity is. It makes you feel obligated, like when someone helps you, you feel obligated to do that for the person or do it for someone else. and it gives you a sense of satisfaction because you're passing it on, you're like doing a good week. So this is in essence what serial reciprocity is, and I am finished with my part. So I will hand over to Alyssa.
Hi, good night, everyone. My name is Alyssa, and I will be continuing with the presentation tonight. So let us talk about the development of communities. Communities don't form automatically. People have to work together to build and develop a sense of belonging and togetherness. So there are four important and essential stages in forming and developing a community. Scott Peck, 1987. So stage one is pseudo-community. In this stage, groups may appear to be doing just fine, but it's not fully developed into a proper community. Persons often try their best to keep things very friendly and kind and tries to avoid disagreements so that everything looks peaceful on the surface. This makes the group seems like a true community, but it isn't as yet. Stage two is chaos. This occurs when people start to voice their real opinions, feelings, and differences. The polite harmony of the first stage fades away and disagreements often occurs as members start to realize that not everyone views things the exact same way. This can make the group feel frustrated or unstable as people may argue and compete for control. Because of the tension and confusion, some members may feel very uncomfortable and may exit the group instead of facing the challenges together. So according to Peck 1987, there are two ways for groups to evolve from chaos, which are organization and emptiness. The term organization in this instance refers to implementing procedures in place to control and reduce disagreements. Peck also refers to the process by which members of a community remove their obstacles to genuine connection as emptiness. Stage 3 is about understanding and accepting the many different emotions, feelings, and beliefs within the group. At this stage, members start to recognize that everyone has their own unique perspectives and that these differences are very normal. Instead of avoiding conflicts or disagreements, the group learns to listen and support each other. Stage 4 is consideration. At this stage, disagreements still exist, but the group has learned to value different perspectives and approaches. Members understand it is quite normal to have disagreements or conflicts, and that these can actually help the group make better decisions. Instead of trying to eliminate disagreements, the focus is on listening and trying to find solutions that consider multiple different viewpoints. This stage really shows the community is growing stronger as members begin to work together despite differences. So building a community means transforming a group of individuals, I's, into a connected and cooperative we. Many groups get stuck at the very first stage known as pseudo-community, where communication is very polite but often is very superficial, and collaboration doesn't occur. Even when a community grows and begins to function genuinely, it can mistakenly treat this as a finished goal. In reality, community building is an ongoing process. Communities are constantly changing as new members join, ideas may clash, and conflicts may even arise. To stay strong, members must continuously work on communication, trust, and understanding, recognizing that maintaining a healthy community requires ongoing effort. So people should put these 7 community building ideas into practice. So number 1, being committed. For a community to exist, people need to be committed to one another. Number 2, be mindful. So we need to consider what we say and what we do. And we need to focus on the process, not the outcome. Number 3, be unconditionally accepting. We need to accept people for who they are and don't alter or fix them. And we need to reduce expectations and bias. Number 4, be concerned for both yourself and others. So we need to communicate with people wherever we go. We need to get their opinions on certain matters that concern them, and we need to be very open to their point of view. Number 5, be understanding. So we need to make an effort to fully comprehend other people. Number 6, be ethical. We need to act in a way that is morally correct. And number 7, be peaceful. Aim for both internal harmony and harmony with others. Don't be violent and dishonest. The group will be enhanced if each member performs community building techniques and develop a mental model of their organization as a community. Participants will aim to resolve differences, listen more attentively, respect one another, even when they disagree on particular topics, and also gain new knowledge in the process. We should not place claims on others to be similarly invested in and dedicated to community, according to Itonzi 1993. So now let us talk about college communities. College campuses are often described as learning communities where students and staff come together to share ideas and grow intellectually. But in reality, a genuine sense of community is not always present. Despite the ideal of unity and respect, conflicts frequently arise. Hate crimes and acts of discrimination still occur, creating fear among students. Even in everyday interactions, some meetings can be marked by disrespect and rudeness. As a result, the building of a genuine connection and respect on campus require ongoing effort and commitment. The Carnegie Foundation 1990 investigation highlighted that students, faculty, and staff all shared a deep desire for a stronger sense of community on college campuses. However, this was not a call to return to the older and more uniform model of campus life, where everyone was expected to think and act alike. Instead, the foundation emphasized the need for a desire and inclusive community, one that values and respects individuals' differences while still fostering a sense of shared purpose. A healthy college community, as described by the foundation, would balance freedom and respect. It would be open to new ideas and people. It would be fair in its treatment of all members. It would be orderly in how it functions, and it would be compassionate towards the needs and challenges of others, and it would be joyous in spirit, encouraging connection and belonging. So this vision suggests that true community is creating an environment where everyone feels loved, valued, and supported. So the entire college campus is a community that consists several other communities within the campus. So on campus, there exist communities among the different positions. Example, pupils, teachers, administration, staff, and alumni. There are smaller community clusters such as senior citizens or even like clubs and graduate students. They all exist within those groupings, and each cluster shares difficulties and has particular requirements. Building and sustaining a strong campus community starts with intentional efforts in the spaces where people interact daily. Every department, student organization, classroom, and administrative office can contribute to the larger sense of connection by creating environments that are welcoming and supportive. This means actively encouraging collaboration, respect, and shared decision making so everyone feels their voice is valued and heard. Also small acts of Also small acts like recognizing achievements, addressing conflicts fairly, and providing opportunities for meaningful engagement can have a ripple effect in strengthening relationships across the campus. So in conclusion, rational leadership is strengthened by presenting any group or organization as a community of individuals collaborating towards common goals. By viewing that group as a community, members are connected to a common understanding of duties and expectations. Rational leadership is very necessary for communities to thrive. Community is valued as a setting where significant change can take place. So that brings us to the end of our presentation tonight. I want to thank everyone for listening, and I hope you all found it very informative. Thank you.